Gregory, a rarity and a first for all local sports podcasts tonight. Some of the greatest minds in Virginia sports podcasting will be at the same table, at least at the beginning of the night, okay? But in all seriousness, District 2 Sports Podcast is happy to be hosting Bob Albus from the Sports Buffet, Matt Mullins from Mountain Mojo, and Mr. Joe Newell from Dan River Sports. And what we'll be doing, we'll be jumping in and looking into the Virginia high school football playoffs for all classes. And I'd just like to say from me, Gregory, and I guess Devin's coming sometime, a grand welcome to all. And I've already told my boys they got to play nice in the sandbox tonight. So I hope they'll hold up their end of the bargain. But, we'll just start with Bob. Bob, just let us know what part of the country you're covering, and then we'll go down the line.
Welcome. I am in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I cover pretty much anybody that'll talk to me.
and you do a good job of that too, Bob. Mr.
Well, I
Mullins.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm with Mountain Mojo Sports. We're a new page. I'm down here in Southwest Virginia, covering the coal fields. Glad to be on with you guys tonight.
And we looked at that new page last night. You ain't really new no more. You got people from everywhere looking at you, buddy. So congratulations. And then last but not least, Mr. Joe Newell from Dan River Sports. So Joe, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Greg. It's good to be with you guys. Joe Newell, danriversports.com. We launched about a year and a half ago now with a focus on local sports in the Dan River region as a whole. But for capacity's sake, we started with Danville and Pittsylvania County. So that's been really our primary focus over the last year and a half.
And let me say this, Gregory, and to all, when Joe Newell conducts an interview on the field, he conducts the interview. I'm going to tell you, the other night, the lights were out and he had people holding cell phones and he had his big mic out there and conducting the best interview with Coach Anderson on the field. So it was awesome out there. We still don't know what happened to the lights.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Matt, you're already getting some love here. I mean, you got the fan base coming out here to kind of listen to you talk about your region down there. So, anything else before we get started into the regions here? We'll go ahead and pull them up. So we're going to start from 1B, 1C, 1D, 2C, 2D, and we got 3C, 3D, 4D, and then we'll end at 5C there. Matt, we got to bring you on because we're going to struggle with these 1C and 1D regions, and we have a debate here to settle for 2D as well. So we'll get into that, but. First one I do want to bring up is 1B. And, this is kind of a weird region to me just because, Alta Vistas are kind of there by themselves. I mean, sometimes you might see like a William Campbell there or something like that. But just look at the bracket here. You have 1 Alta Vista, 8 Cumberland, 4 Luray, 5 Buffalo Gap, 2 Sussex Central, 7 Surrey County, 3 Riverheads, and 6 Brunswick. Just kind of my first thoughts looking at this. You're used to seeing Riverheads as a 1 seed and, usually winning a state championship. But I guess since the coach, I think he maybe left a couple years ago, but it seems they're kind of getting things back together there. Maybe they can make a run to the playoffs. But Alta Vista, they played a great schedule out of conference. We talked to Coach Deloach there. He had mentioned that he want to play some talent, get ready for playoffs, and then kind of paid off there as a 1 seed. So let's get your guys' thoughts as well.
Gregory, I'm gonna ask, just make one quick notice of this. I'm not sure what everybody's take is on 1A football. And I've been a huge proponent all year of 1A football. I've said many and many a night that if you're good, you're good. I don't care what class you're in. You're good. You play. And I've stuck by Alta Vista all year long because I just feel like he's got the right perspective up there, and he stepped outside of his district and basically his region, and he's played some 2 and 3, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he played Lord Botetourt in 4A, didn't he? And didn't have quite the success that he wanted, but still 7 and 3 overall. And he played a schedule, and he made notice to us that he was playing a schedule to get his guys ready for the grind of the state playoffs. So I don't make no bones about it. I've already picked Alta Vista to be in that state semis.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Bob, what's your take on the Lynchburg scene there with Alta Vista? I mean, how are they stacking up there?
So Alta Vista played Botetourt 3, but played Blacksburg 4. So they did get their 3s and 4s in there. Alta Vista won on I don't want to say a buzzer beater, but a thriller last week against Gretna. Gretna is a very good football team. Alta Vista also did play Riverheads. Riverheads' longtime coach was Robert Casto. He gave it up a couple years ago. It's funny. Coaching used to be a lifelong profession. We do not live in that time anymore. Coaching is not a lifelong profession anymore. I like Alta Vista, but be careful of the bottom half of that bracket with Sussex and Riverheads.
I know I was going to ask. I don't know much about the Eastern teams. I think Joe may say something, but I don't know anything about those Eastern side of those teams.
I was just going to add real quick to Alta Vista. We've seen them a couple of times. They played Gretna to close out the regular season. I would throw out a caveat. I think you might be on to something, Matt, in the sense, or maybe it was Bob that was talking, but maybe I like Sussex, to be honest, a little bit better than Alta Vista. Alta Vista lost some to graduation. Now, don't get me wrong. They're extremely well coached. Those kids play hard, man. They're physical. They gamble a little too much on the perimeter and the back end defensively, I think. Gretna threw for 515 yards on them. And if it wasn't for an onside kick late and the fact that Gretna struggles to stop the run, I think Gretna was up by 12 with like 3 minutes left in that game. I also saw them play Dan River, kind of similar thing defensively. They pressed coverage and left the middle of the field open. I think that's probably why Gretna got to them a little bit. But I do give them, like I think Greg may have mentioned a moment ago, huge props, though, for the schedule. I mean, these guys, it's not going to be a question of whether they've played hard teams. They'll be ready physically and mentally for the game. But I think they're just a little step off of maybe where they were last year when they made that deep run.
You guys, I mean, just for anybody who wants to come off, you guys see any possible upsets here? I mean, you see Alta Vista maybe facing any challenge there in the semifinal if they get Luray or Buffalo Gap, or you see like maybe Riverheads making a run. I know Joe, you had mentioned Sussex, but you see Riverheads maybe slipping there to the district or region championship.
Riverheads and Alta Vista played in the regular season. Alta Vista had a comeback win against Riverheads to win that game. I mean, I will politely disagree with Joe, but I mean, Sussex is going to have their athletes. Believe me, those teams in what used to be the old Region A, those guys have a ton of athletes. Riverheads does stuff right, and Alta Vista, yeah. I mean, I think they're very good. I think they're battle tested, like everybody has said. I would go with them. The only upset I maybe could see is Gap over Luray, but I'm not going to put my hair on it.
I don't have no scouting report on these teams. The only thing I've done is looked at their schedule and kind of noticed maybe common opponents. But I'm very familiar with Riverheads and all the history of that program. I think that they're a very physical football team, and I think if I was going to pick, like I said, I'm not up to date on these guys, but I know Sussex Central, their schedule, it looks like they're a tough team. So I would say, Riverheads can make a run. Sussex Central, I think, would be my pick to make the state semis. No disrespect to Alta Vista now. I know they're a good team. Play a tough schedule. But I think Sussex Central will be my pick.
Well. Look who joined the party, everybody. It's Devin Dawson.
He woke up. He woke up.
I'm sorry to
Devin,
the rest of the guys on here.
Devin, we want your thoughts on 1B. Who's gonna win it? What's going on? Right into it. We need an answer here.
Oh yeah. Give me. I think that Alta Vista is probably your favorite here as the 1 seed, but look out for Riverheads, man.
That's what Matt was just saying. Also, I mean, Sussex is out there. I guess that's way out there in the east, but like that saves Alta Vista a trip out there. So Sussex has had to come on a Saturday, I guess, but that's a long trip to make out there to Alta Vista. So I hope that may play in their favor too. So watch out for that as well. So when there's those long trips, you get those jello legs. So watch out for that. Go ahead, Big Greg.
I think it's still a Friday night with the regional final. So it's not the Saturday trip yet.
And that probably will be on Thanksgiving weekend, right? So it'll probably be out of school anyways. So forget everything I just said. Who cares about long bus trips? If it's on a Friday, no school, they're gonna be fine.
Hey, and look, Matt is here for a big giant reason too. So I can't wait till we get to that part of it.
All right, moving on to the next one here. I'm gonna pull up. This is where Matt's gonna come in handy here. So
I mean, huge. He's coming huge.
All right, let's go here. There we go. So here in 1C. So maybe this is kind of like getting close to Matt's region here, but 1C here, we talked to Giles Spartans. We talked to Coach Wright there at Giles. Auburn's there at 8. Narrows the Green Wave. Watch out for Narrows. They've had some good wins here late in the season. George Wythe came down to last game against, I guess, Giles for that district championship game. I think it was a 30-point win by Giles there. Craig County, we just did a interview with Coach Fisher there the other day. Really happy for Craig County. It might be the story of the year, actually. Just seeing what that program was, in years past. They get a rematch with Bath County. Grayson, definitely a team I would watch out for there. They've been there last year, right, or a couple years ago. So a team that's been there before, so watch out for them. And they're playing Perry McClure, who's a 6 seed there. So anybody who wants to kind of comment on that.
Well, Greg, I'll jump in real quick. I learned a lot from our interview with Coach yesterday from Craig, and I wasn't aware, and I guess I was under a rock somewhere, that I was totally unaware that their success had been as fleeting as it was. So I penciled in Giles beating Auburn and actually getting to the region finals, and I had them playing Craig, but I'm kind of leery on Craig right now. I just don't. I mean, are they happy with what they've done this year? And hey, great season. Let's move on. That's the only thing I would worry about them right now.
Yeah, I think Grayson County, man, they're a dark horse. They played in the state championship last year, lost to a very good Essex team. Giles is tough. They got a tailback up there by the name of Antonio Wilcoxon. Man, he is a beast. Giles is my pick to come out of there, but it would not surprise me one bit to see Grayson County win this region. I think they'll beat Craig County in round 2, and I don't know that it will be that close. I think Grayson beats them by at least 2 touchdowns.
I kind of concur with that. I mean, Grayson, they've been there before. They're playing some good ball here. No knock to Craig County, but I think Devin has some analytics there where Craig County's strength of schedule is just, I mean, nothing they can do about it. They play the teams on their schedule, but their strength of schedule has not been great. So Grayson's been there before. So yeah, I would definitely watch Grayson there in the championship, maybe against Giles, and I think it'd be a great game. But I think I would still lean Giles, kind of like what Matt was saying too.
And Max Preps Greg is here to introduce the strength of schedule at minus 21.8 for Craig County.
And I'll say this: I'm just going to add that we have another Gregory special here at the bottom with Perry McClure. There's an A in Perry Gregory, not an E with Perry McClure. I think he had Brookville spelled wrong all season too. But if I had to say, probably Giles coming out of Region 1C here, but I think that loss that Craig County had against Narrows, I mean, I don't know what was going on that night for them. I don't know if Matt can kind of speak to that, but it didn't sit right with me after starting undefeated like they did.
So to kind of put it in perspective, Craig County played Twin Springs at Craig County. Craig County won that game by 7 points. Twin Springs had the ball inside the 10-yard line with no timeouts at the end of the game, and they got tackled inbounds, a couple yards short of tying that game, sending in overtime. And Twin Springs finished third in the Cumberland down here, and they're the 7th seed in that Region D. Narrows is another team. They're playing really good ball right now. Honeacre went to Narrows and come from behind and beat them in a really good game. I think that Narrows and George Wythe game will be a really good game. Both of those teams I think they're pretty even. But yeah, it's a great story with Craig County and what they've done this year, and that's great for them. That's awesome to see a program like that turn it around, and the year they've had is awesome. And for them to be a 2 seed and a chance to win a playoff game, maybe more, that's just great to see. But yeah, I think that Grayson County will come out of that side and play Giles, and I think Giles is the team to beat.
Matt and Gregory, I don't even have a clue if are we even talking about 1D? Is that coming up at all? Because I really need to for my sake.
Yeah, that's a 1C. We're getting to 1D next, but yeah.
Okay, so D is coming up. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah. Do you guys? I mean, Craig County's already beat Bath County. Is there any worry that Bath may look at the tape and maybe find something they can find a chink in the armor of Craig and maybe get that upset in the first round, or you see Craig getting by Bath right there in the first round? Now, the reason why I asked that is because the coach there for Craig, he mentioned like it wasn't. I mean, I think they beat him 28-0 maybe, but he just kind of alluded to like it was a close game towards the end. I think they just kind of pulled it away. So I'm just wondering about that, but I don't know. I don't really see many upsets. I mean, I think once you get to maybe Grayson and Craig, that's about it. And then I don't know, maybe Nares has some luck against Giles again. I don't know, but yeah, I think Giles comes out of there for me. Anyone else?
I mean, hey, Bath County is a team. They had a great year last year. They went on a little run. I think their trip in the playoffs was cut kind of short, though, if I'm not mistaken. I think Grayson County might have went up there and beat them in that region. But Bath County, they could. You never know.
Yeah.
But I like Craig County to win that first round game.
I like to find a stat. What's the number of higher seeds lose to a lower seed in the first round? It can't be that high. I wouldn't think in high school football. Usually, it's you probably see a lot of blowouts in that first week, but it'd be interesting to see for sure.
I don't think you're going to see it as much in the lower classifications because I think there's a bigger talent gap from 1 to 8 and 2 to 7, maybe even 3 to 6. Just my opinion, but I mean, once we get into the bigger boys, maybe. But I mean, I'm still going to put up a defense. I'm still going to put up the defense for all the higher seeded teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob, I'll add on to what you just said. You also see some very atrocious records, such as 2-8 and 3-7s, and some of those lower seeded teams as well.
Don't even get me started.
I'm with you. I didn't want to. I also see. Oh, did I say 2-8? I see 2-2-8. So anyway, I won't go but so far.
I think it's another conversation for another podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, growing
Absolutely.
up, Matt knows it. When we were there in 2008, 2009, you had to basically win your district or make it the district semifinals in a tournament to get to the region tournament. So it's a lot different now. Now you just get in for being decent. So it's a lot different. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of everybody agrees. Kind of Giles and Grayson County there to watch out for the region championship. So we'll move on to 1D here. This is where Matt's gonna come in handy here. So Matt, we talked about Eastside a lot. Eastside finished undefeated there.
Wait a minute. I think you need to rephrase that. Big G talks about Eastside quite a bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And has tried to get Eastside into the Super Bowl, into the top 10. And I've been shot down by my two sons each time I've even mentioned the name Eastside. First of all, it's 1A. And then their strength of schedule is, let's see, now it's negative 14.3. And I forget the running back's name. He plays running back. He plays linebacker, but I've mentioned him, and I think he's been offered by Wise already, but you can make mention to him. I've tried to introduce Eastside to these two guys. They won't let me. And then the second team, which I'm just now kind of catching on to or hearing more about, is Chilhowie. And I just, Matt, if you can speak to some of those teams, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you a rundown on every one of them, man. But we'll start with Eastside. That's Keldon Hamilton you're talking about. He's a junior. He's a monster. He is a grown man. playing football. Yeah, that defense they have. And one thing about Eastside, they are super young. They have a couple seniors on that roster, but I don't think there's a lot of them that contribute. Most of their guys are juniors and sophomores and freshmen. They are in this for the long haul. They have a great coach. Mike Rhodes is a great guy. But they have a good quarterback. He's a sophomore, Landon Pinnell. He can throw the ball. That's one thing about Eastside. You know, they're going to pound you. They're big up front on offense. They're big and mean up front on defense. They can run the ball, and if you shut them down in the run game, they're going to throw the ball on you. Landon Pinnell, he has a great arm, and they have a great all-purpose guy in Rocky Bond. He's one of the most electrifying players in the state. He gets his hand on the ball, and it could be a touchdown anytime he touches the ball. They use him out of the backfield, and they split him out wide. But Eastside's they're very good, and they're going to be around for the next 3 or 4 years in that same spot.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
Too
I
bad.
mean, I know I took an expert to convince these boys. That's for sure.
too bad our
Hey,
Super
Big
Simple
Greg,
spinal
I'm not
issue
one to
makes
tell
it
you what to do, but if they disagree with you, out of the will they go. I mean,
Oh,
that's just
wow.
mom.
Wow.
My mom threatens me with that all the time. It works. Trust me.
Well, I think that's a good one for tonight, Bob. I think I'll work on that as soon as we get off here.
Wow. Over the East Side Spartans. I can't believe this right now. So yeah, East Side there at 1. I make sure I say this right. Honaker. When I played at Chatham, Honaker played Gate City in the state semifinal there for baseball. I was like, is that Honaker? And I was like, no, that's Honaker. So yeah, make sure I say that right. Playing Northwood, Chilhowie, like we talked about before, Twin Springs, Rye Cove, and Holston there. So for me, I'm not as the knowledge is not there. I mean, East Side, of course, they finished undefeated. I don't know what it is about Rye Cove. I mean, I feel like they could do something special there too. Matt can maybe speak on that too.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys want to, I can go down each opponent, each team.
Please.
We'll start with East Side and Rural Retreat. These two teams played in week 2. East Side scored at the buzzer and went for 2 and won the game. Rural Retreat is a team early in the year that a lot of people thought would win this region. They have been decimated by injuries. Chaz Penwright is their quarterback, their senior leader. He's probably the best athlete in the area, and he's been banged up all year. They've lost a couple key guys. They've limped to the finish line, but they're kind of getting healthy. I don't know if Chaz is going to play in the playoffs or not, but if he does, that could be a game to watch. I think Rural Retreat could, if he does play, they could give him a good game. I think East Side, they're too big, they're too good. I think they'll move on, but Rural Retreat could give them a fit. Honaker and Northwood, this is a game that could go either way. Honaker, I think they've won 5 out of their last 6 games. And like I put I put some playoff briefs out a few days ago, and a lot of people wrote Honaker off. They lost Avery Music, their all-state wide receiver, to a torn ACL against Chilhowie, and a lot of people thought they were done. But man, those young kids, they're loaded with freshmen and sophomores as well at quarterback and receiver positions. They're playing good ball right now. Northwood has a great defense. So I think Honaker hung 48 on them out here on Halloween night. It's the most points they've given up all year. Northwood, they're big and physical on defense, and they're fast. They have a back by the name of Brody Waddle. He's a big kid. He's like 6'4", I think, maybe like 230 pounds. Runs the ball, catches the ball. I think that game could go either way. But Honaker, they're very hard to defend. They're 4 and 5 wide at all times. So they're going to give anybody fits as far as matchups. They're hard to match up against. Chilhowie and Twin Springs. Twin Springs, of course, my alma mater. Shout out to my boy Keith Warner, former teammate of mine, good friend, the head coach down there at Twin Springs. Just want to give a shout out for what he's done for that program. Completely turned it around. Chilhowie's defense, I think they're averaging. I think they're giving up like 7 points a game, something insane. It's crazy. I mean, they held Honaker to 7 points out here at Honaker. They beat them 22-7. And they're a team offensively. They're going to pound you with that freshman back they have. His name's Gunnar Milhorn. He's a big kid, runs hard to be a freshman. They lean on him heavily. And then they got a veteran quarterback by the name of Asher Chapman. He's a senior. I think he's a 3 or 4 year starter. He's played in the playoff games a couple years ago. They missed the playoffs last year, but he's played in some playoff games before, quarterbacked in some playoff games. So I think they can lean on him. If the run is struggling, he's a good passer. He throws a good ball. Twin Springs, they're a team. They're young. They got a senior quarterback in Clay Ross. They got some young skill guys. They have a freshman. His name's Isaiah Kaiser. He's a big time playmaker. Very fast. They throw the ball to him, hand the ball off to him. The only thing with Twin Springs, they're not very big up front, and I think that's really going to hurt them against Chilhowie. So I think Chilhowie, will win that game. And then Rycove and Holston. Rycove. I was at the Rycove and Twin Springs game last week, the ever so famous Game 10, or Scott County Super Bowl, as they call it down here. Twin Springs hung with them. They did. But like I mentioned about Twin Springs being small up front, that was evident last week. Rycove just wore them down up front on both sides of the ball. It was a tie game after the first quarter. I think a 2-possession game at halftime, and Twin Springs actually got it down to an 8-point game. It was either late in the third quarter or early in the fourth quarter. But Rycove just wore them down. Just too big, too physical. And that Chilhowie, if Chilhowie and Rycove advance, each of them, and that region semifinal game will be very good. Guys, go ahead.
Hey, that's why we brought Matt on right there. Exactly why I brought him on. Got all the breakdown there. I mean, after hearing that, I mean, maybe I'm going to go with Chilhowie. I might have to go with Chilhowie now. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Chilhowie, looking at their schedule in round 1, and they beat Rycove. Man, something I got to look into. Pop, you can change your mind? You saying with Eastside?
No. Eastside and Giles in the semis.
I'm going to stick with Eastside out of here. I think they already have, if I'm not mistaken, I think they already have a win over Chilhowie. I love Region 1D in general. I mean, I think Honaker has Parker Lowe or Parker Lau, who's a freshman or sophomore at quarterback, who's tearing it up. But yeah, it's just a fun region in general. I mean, all these teams, I think Honaker is 6-4, Northwood is 7-3. It's going to be a fun little region here, but I'm still going to take Eastside.
Matt, do you see any potential upsets anywhere? I mean, could you see a first round upset, or maybe wait until the semifinals, maybe?
I really don't. I mean, I think Rural Retreat will play Eastside tough, like I said earlier. But Eastside, I think they win that game. Eastside's my pick to win the region. I think it'll be Eastside and Rycove again, that region championship. My heart wants to go with Rycove. My gut's going to go with Eastside. I think it's their time. They lost 2 heartbreakers last year to Rycove. One of those being in the region championship. I think Rycove will get a little bit of revenge on Chilhowie. I think Chilhowie caught Rycove a little banged up. One thing we got to talk about with Rycove, their starting quarterback tore his ACL against Eastside in the first half. So they have a sophomore quarterback by the name of Tyler Shoup who has stepped in, and Coach Collier acknowledged that he has grown leaps and bounds over the past month since he's took over. Cole Barnett, Rycove's tailback, he got banged up the Eastside game. I think he might have sprained his knee, MCL, something like that. And he's still wearing a big brace on that knee. But I think that'll be a really good game between Rycove and Chilhowie. I think Rycove gets them. But I think and then the Eastside Honaker. If Honaker can beat Northwood, I'm really excited to see that matchup with that East Side defense against that Honaker offense. Parker Lowe, he is a freshman, but he plays like a senior. We have a quarterback here in Southwest Virginia by the name of Mike Reese, and I've watched Mike since he was a freshman. And I'm not trying to compare the two, but seeing Mike as a freshman and seeing Parker as a freshman, I think Parker's development as a freshman quarterback compared to Mike's, he's a little bit more ahead of Mike. And knowing how great Mike is, man, he is unbelievable to watch. And it's going to be, as long as Parker can stay healthy, hopefully, and good Lord willing, as we say, he's going to be very something to watch over the next 4 years at Honaker, and especially that round 2 matchup. I'm eager to see that if Honaker can beat Northwood.
And that kind of brings me to our first kind of state semifinal there. So if we potentially have the ones win for 1C and 1D, because they'll play each other in the semifinals and play the winner of 1A, 1B. So it could potentially be Giles and Eastside. So my first question is, I mean, does who wins that game? Is Giles be able to run the ball like they normally are during the season against Eastside? Is Eastside's defense going to stop the run? I mean, what do you guys see for that potential state semifinal game?
I think Eastside, man. I think their defense and that run game, man. I think they're state championship bound. I really do. Keldon Hamilton, he runs the ball really hard. That's going to be a great matchup if that does happen. If we do see that Giles and Eastside matchup, man, that's going to be some primetime football. Because I think I haven't watched them much. I watched a little bit of film on them. They look super fast on film, and Eastside, I don't know that they've played anybody, as far as defense. Well, I take that back. They played Chilhowie. Eastside did play Chilhowie. They beat Chilhowie. I think it was 28-14 or 21-14, something like that. I think Eastside would beat Giles, but I think it'd be a good football game, and Giles could beat Eastside. But my pick would be Eastside.
Matt and Joe and Bob, I hate to say I told you so to these two boys of mine, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I told you so.
I don't think you really hate to say that.
Yeah, he doesn't. So it would be interesting to see an Alta Vista, East Side state championship game. I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll be a good crowd there. Both teams kind of central to west, so they're in Salem. So potentially see that one there for the state championship. That'll be interesting to see. So anything else for 1 before we move on to for 2? I think we're good. All right.
I think this is our bloodbath right here.
Yeah, 2C. Oh, so 2C, 2D. So we're gonna get. This is gonna be interesting. So 2C here, the Glenver Highlanders 1, Nelson County there at 8, Radford at 4, Appomattox 5, 2 Gretna, 7 Dan River, 3 Floyd County, and 6 James River. There might be a typo because I do not see the Chatham Cavaliers in here. So maybe I'm seeing things wrong. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely not a typo. Gentlemen, I have preached all year that Glenver was my state champion from day one. As long as Brody was healthy, I said they were state championship bound or bust. And my thing that I'm struggling with right now is I don't know how Brody is right now. So does anybody have anything to add to the discussion about his health right now?
I read earlier today that he's not ruled out for that. I've seen reports that he's out for the season, but I think Coach Clifford, he hasn't came out and said that. Obviously, I read today. I can't remember what I read it on, but he was participating in practice. But they're preparing for the. Is it Vaughn? Is that his last name? The kid, the backup. What's his last name? Kale Vaughn. Is that the kid that came in and played quarterback?
Devin may have it. Devin, you have it? No. Yeah, I think it sounds about right though. Yeah.
So I think they're preparing for the Vaughn kid to play, but I think kind of judging by what I read out of Coach Clifford's quotes, I think you could see Brody later on down the road.
I wonder is it strictly his throwing arm? I mean, is this something where he can maybe participate in another way? I mean, obviously he has college ambition, so you don't really want to risk him getting hurt further and kind of hurting him there in college, but it'd be interesting to see. Okay, I don't know. There's some news here. So first he's fine. X-ray came back fine. He will not play this week, but we're ready to go next week. So if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, maybe the state championship hopes are back on then. So I mean, when we first saw that, it's like you hate to see that because I mean, Glenver has been there so many times and just they were able to get a hump once, but they could have been there a lot more often, but just couldn't do it. But it'll be interesting to see. So
they are the only team that I've ever seen be number 7 in a top 10 poll, never lose a game, and finish number 9. The only team I've ever no love whatsoever, none.
See, that's what he does, guys. He comes out here. If you saw last night's live show, he even put Glenver at 9. So there's nothing we did to him. He agreed. So that's what he does. I guess I see another Gretna Glenver region final there. I mean, I know Gretna and Glenver have been there for the last few years. Floyd County maybe can get Gretna, or maybe be a close game there in the semifinals. But I just feel like Gretna's athletes. They have a lot of athletes over there. Can get it done and get to Glenver. I still see Glenver winning this region though. To me.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick, and that I was actually at the Glenver Gretna regional championship last year, and obviously we've seen Gretna a ton down here. We'll be over there Friday night for their first round matchup with Dan River. Also, I concur with pretty much what everybody's saying. If Doyot's healthy, and sorry Hawk fans, I love you. I love you. I'm in your corner, but if Doyot's healthy and able to play, they don't need him for Nelson County, to be honest. And I'm not trying to pick on the Governors, but they're going to be overmatched in that first round matchup. But if Doyot's healthy, they're the clear favorite, I think, in 2C for sure. And it's not just him, obviously. They've got talent all over. They've got some size. They're physical. Again, extremely well coached. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Gretna and Glenver again in that championship game for sure.
I'll throw one more name out there that they're a 5 seed and the potential on Glenver's radar. And I just think by the way they played it towards the end of the year that they could wreak some havoc on Glenver, and that would be Appomattox County. I don't know, Bob, you got any kind of anything to add to that?
I politely disagree. I mean, Appomattox has played a lot better. I mean, to give the number 1 team fits, I don't know, but I mean, you could argue they've been there before, but not this group in terms of big time things. I would still take Glenver, but like I think Gretna's sneaky, but Joe's probably seen them a lot more than I have, but I think Gretna could be sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, Devin saw Gretna play against JF early in the season. I mean, JF's line is unbelievable, so I mean, it's kind of hard to see that. But if Rayshon can get out of the pocket and throw the ball downfield, maybe he gives him a chance. But I just think that Glenver's lines would be too tough to handle, I think, for Gretna. Like they said, I agree that Radford Appomattox game's gonna be really good to watch. It'd be interesting to see Floyd County and James River. It's only a 7-point game early in the season, or late in the season there, so it'll be interesting to see that. And I think this would be a good region watching the semifinal games too.
I want to give a shout out to Cooper Mullins there at Glenver. A great last name that guy has. Fun guy to watch on film too. I watched a little bit of those guys on film. They look really good on film. So yeah. And then I like the kid from Floyd County. I was going to ask you guys: is there any way that the kid from Floyd County kind of leads them, maybe upsets Glenver?
I don't know, because I mean, what was this? They just played last week, and it was like 24-6 or something like that. I mean, I could maybe see that if Brody cannot go, maybe a full game without Brody, and maybe Floyd can sneak in there. So that's potential. I still wouldn't see Glenver losing without Brody until that final, maybe against either Gretna or Floyd there in the region championship. I think everybody kind of consensus there is Glenver winning this 2C. They'll match up with 2D. Anything else on 2C before we get to 2D here?
No, I'm just so patiently waiting for 2D. It's unbelievable.
Oh yes, this is where the fun.
I know why I'm brought on here. I know I'm set up for this one completely. I know. I
don't know why you're so upset. I mean,
I'm not upset. I just feel like I'm being set up completely. I had no idea what the relationships here were. So,
I didn't know Matt had a union hat until he put it on right before the thing got started. So I know you didn't. But yeah, 2D breaking it down here. Yeah,
So
Union is. Wait,
you want me to go? You want me to go ahead and just tell everybody what I said last night and make it clear to
let-
everybody here?
I'll give you the seeds first, and then I want you to
Okay. All right.
give your
Okay.
take on Union. I want everybody to hear this. So Union won, Lee there at 8, Graham G-Man there at 4, state championship team last year. Gate City at 5, 2 Ridgeview, who just moved into number 10 in our poll, 7 Richlands, 3 Virginia High, and 6 Lebanon Pioneers. Go ahead, Big G. Go ahead and tell us how you think it's gonna work out.
All right. So let's start off with this first and foremost that I'm aware of. I know 3 of us have not seen not one of these teams play. Is that? I think I'm pretty accurate right there. The 3 that I'm talking about will be me, Gregory, and Devin. We go by a lot of headlines and a lot of social media. So there's this team called Union that somehow snuck in our poll through whatever, I don't know, information that was shared, even though I couldn't get Eastside in there. But anyway, I just have felt all along that Graham, they have to defend a state championship. I don't necessarily think that they had their feet under them to begin with at the beginning of the season. And I just feel like they're coming with vengeance, and I feel like they will handle Union in that semifinal game.
I'm really glad you're not bitter about this East Side thing.
Here's the thing, Big Greg, is that Union has already handled Graham early in the season. And I get that it was early, but they've also handled Lebanon. They've handled Ridgeview. They've handled Gate City. I think they're far and away the best team in 2D. I think a team that could make some noise at the bottom of the bracket there is Lebanon. I think they didn't have the greatest end to the season, but I could see them pulling an upset in that first round game against Virginia High.
And before Matt jumps in, I'm just going to tell you, I have Graham and Virginia High in the region. Was it that would be the region finals? I guess that is. And Graham coming out and being in the semifinals. State
All right,
semi.
Matt, go ahead and tell him why he's wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's the hot topic around here right now. It's that semifinal matchup between Union and Graham. I think they met in week 3 or 4. Listen, Graham had like 3 or 4 kids, stud kids that didn't play that game. They had I think a freshman quarterback who looked overwhelmed completely that game. Graham's looking dangerous right now. I'll say it. But whoever comes out of that semifinal game is going to win your region. I think it's going to be Union. The advantage being Bullitt Park. That's a tough place to play. The towns of Big Stone Gap and Appalachia pour into that place. And if those two match up, if listen, let me back up. Gate City's no slouch. Gate City has some big kids up front. They have a coach in Jeremy Housewright who played at Gate City. He's the son of legendary coach Bill Housewright. It was at Gate City for years under Nick Collabro, and even he led Gate City for a while. Gate City's got some big kids up front. And if Graham is looking past this week, Gate City could beat him. Now Graham could come out and beat them by 20 or 30 points. It's what most people think are going to happen. But they got to show up and play 4 quarters against Gate City. Gate City runs the ball. They got a good tailback in Walker Hillman. Like I said, they're big up front. They're good defensively, and they got a coach who's going to have them prepared to play. But yeah, the semifinal matchup, if Graham gets there against Union, it's showtime, baby. It's going to be a big time football game. Like I said, Graham's got 3 or 4 studs that are back for that game that they didn't have against Union. But I got faith in my guys in Big Stone Gap, Coach Turner. That state title's been elusive to those guys, and I think this is their year. And I see them getting past Graham, and I see them playing Ridgeview for a Region D championship. Ridgeview's a team who came to Bullitt Park and gave Union all they wanted for about a half, And the thing with Union, they're so big, and they pound you with Keith Chandler, who is, I would hate to try to tackle that kid, man. I mean, he's like 5'8", 230 pounds. He's muscle, literally like a boulder coming off a cliff at you when he's running the football. You know, a lot of these DBs I've seen play against Union, you know, they make a lot of business decisions, as Deion Sanders used to call it back in his day. You know, yeah, I think Union wins a close game against Graham in those region semifinals, but Graham's going to make it heck on them. I can promise you that. If Union wins, it's going to be because they earn it for 4 quarters and maybe more.
I'll meet you on the 21st, Matt. I'll see you then.
It's like music to my ears hearing all that. I mean, I just kind of echoed everything I already knew. We talked to Coach Turner, and I talked to him when I interviewed him. I was like, hey, I mean, you guys have been so close for so long. Like, I mean, this has to be the year with Chandler and Bossy, like you mentioned. And he said he thinks he thinks this is the year. I mean, they've like Matt said, they've had a few games where they started those maybe 14-14 or 10, whatever it was in the first half, and they went on to win by 21 points in those 4 games that we talked about. So I think they just I think that second half they're going to turn it on. Chandler's going to turn it on, and I think they're going to get past Graham. I think they're going to win the region, and I think we're going to see them first state title too. So that's just my thoughts there. I think Dev might agree. Yeah. So with that, if we all agree that Union is there, so 2C, 2D, they'll meet up. I think 1 and 2 do East versus West. I think it kind of gets different after that or 3 and 4. So who do you see if Doyle is healthy? Who do y'all see winning a potential state semifinal between Glenver and Union to go to the state championship?
Glenver. I've said it all year. I said it all year. Glenver, number 1 in our hearts and number 1 in our programs, number 1 in the poll.
Something that is kind of scary with Union, and it has been for years with those guys, man. It's their pass defense, and it's not a stab at those guys, but you go back and look at the Graham game a few years ago, 2021 or something like that. I can't remember, maybe 2019. Union goes to Graham in the regular season and beats them, and in the playoffs, Graham comes to Bullock Park and beats them by like 35 points. Wow. Pass defense, and this year, I noticed Mike Reese and Lebanon, they threw on them the first half. Adjustments were made in the second half, but you get a team that's high scoring offense like Glenver, and you let them come out and score 28 points on you, say in the first half, and you get into a matchup game like a high scoring game like that with Glenver. I think they would be tough to beat. But I got faith in my guys there in Big Stone, and I got Keith Chandler for 4 quarters. Yeah.
Much respect. Hey, Gregory, before we move on to 3, I just want to throw this out there to Matt and Joe and Bob. I know we don't cover these teams, but what about 2 teams such as Strasburg, 9-1, Buckingham potentially meeting up in the region finals, as well as Armstrong Kennedy and Central Lunenburg, I think it is, or Lunenburg Central. Both of those teams in the lower half of that bracket are both undefeated at 10-0. So anything out there that we need to know about those guys that anybody might know?
Armstrong is really good from what I hear. I talked to a writer from the Harrisonburg area tonight, and I said, if I gave you a fictional $100, who do you feel like is the best shot to win a state title? And he said Strasburg.
Interesting.
Buckingham's really good. I've seen Thomas Jefferson play, and Thomas Jefferson is the 4th seed in the region with Armstrong. Thomas Jefferson's got athletes out the yin-yang. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, Armstrong, from what I hear, is really good. Really good.
All right, now this is probably the most 3C is just a mess to me. I don't like the way they did the seating here. The whole region rankings. I mean, we'll talk about that later, but it's just kind of interesting. But you got Heritage at 1, finished the off season, with huge wins over Jefferson Forest and LCA. Western Albemarle there at 8, Turner Ashby at 4, the Allegheny Cougars are at 5, Wilson Memorial at 2, Fluvanna at 7, Broadway at 3, and LCA, who's a 6th seed. So off the bat, I mean, I'm seeing LCA potentially playing Heritage again. I know we saw Wilson play against Allegheny a few weeks ago. I mean, Devin and I, and Wilson. I mean, when I first saw them, I was like, "How's this team keeping getting shutouts?" I mean, like their line was undersized, but they gave Allegheny all they could handle and more. And Devin gave up 3 points, I think, in that game. So Wilson Moore might have a good defense, but I don't know if I don't think they can handle LCA's offense. I think LCA might be able to go against them there. So I would take Heritage and LCA for another rematch there in a close game.
Well, my initial thought is this: LCA just got slapped in the face in my book. I mean, they're going to have to go on take the show on the road for all the entire playoff. I mean, it's terrible. Of course, unless Fluvanna pulls an upset on Wilson Memorial, but I definitely have Heritage and LCA playing once again in the region finals. So I think Heritage comes out of this, no doubt.
I'll jump in there on Heritage too. I've seen film on them, but I also saw them preseason against GW at GW because they scrimmage each other every year. And when the ones were playing the ones, it was one of the most physical scrimmages you will ever see between those two teams. And at times even had to be separated because that's the nature of the contact that was going on. But what I'd say about Heritage that day that I saw even in the scrimmage, and also you still see on film today, is they have whatever that it factor is. They're confident. And I would agree with what you guys have already said, just looking at these brackets, although I think Ashby can be dangerous as well. But I think it's heading towards Heritage and LCA. And of course, Heritage beat LCA and JF both by real close margins. You never want to play really good teams twice in the same season. So if it heads to that, man, that would be a heck of a game to watch.
I know Bob's licking his lips for this one.
I don't even know why we're even playing the regional, because everybody is saying Heritage and LCA. Big slap in the face to Broadway, big slap in the face to Turner Ashby, big slap in the face to Wilson Memorial. Now, I can tell you this, every time that a Lynchburg team has played a Valley team, all the Valley teams have told me, we have never seen speed like that. We've never seen speed like that. We've never seen speed like that. It's almost like a broken record in my head when I go to bed. I hear, we've never seen speed like that. But we have evolved as well over time a little bit. And I think the speed gap, while it's probably still there, maybe not to the huge success. I mean, if you heard that, you would think that everybody in the Valley was on a walker. And they're not, because I can tell you, I've seen Turner Ashby a couple years ago, and it's kind of like Joe said, they're not a team to sleep on. I don't think Broadway is a team to sleep on. I mean, everybody is licking their chops because LCA lost Gideon Davidson, and they think LCA is a weak sister, and that's not true. Now, I will say that. I mean, Heritage and LCA, is it smart money? Probably so. But I don't think that it's, just a given in terms of the Valley, to me, is being disrespected greatly. Do I see it being Heritage LCA? Probably. But, I mean, we still got to play the football games here a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I mean, I'll go along with everybody else. I think it's going to be a Heritage LCA final. And I've said all year, I think that Heritage could be a state championship team, but I think Joe kind of hit the nail on the head. Is that, the Heritage barely escaped that game against LCA in one of the last weeks of the season. And the thing about having to play LCA twice, when you have Rocco coaching, you have Luke Gaither at quarterback, you have Cowart at running back. I mean, it just seems like a terrible matchup to have to play that team twice. So,
well, I could go the other side and say it's a terrible matchup to have to play Heritage twice, because Heritage is really good up front. Heritage's defense is really good. Brad Bradley has coached at Amelia, William Campbell, Patrick Henry, and Heritage, and he's been good at a few of those schools. Patrick Henry was not his probably shining moment of life, but the defenses are always good, and Brad Bradley gets this credit of he's a spread person, and you would think that Brad Bradley throws the ball 60 times a game, and they don't. I mean, so I think Heritage is really good defensively. I think that's where they've always been with Brad Bradley, having coached all his football teams, I think, are really good defensively. I don't think they get the credit. I think it would be a absolute dogfight if they played LCA again. It's the best game I've seen in my life, and I've been doing this for about 20-some years now. Heritage and JF last week was incredible. I mean, it was just incredible. We had, if I could clone Bob and go to GW and Magna Vista, Heritage and JF, and Alta Vista Gretna, we'd have had 3 Bobs all over the place. But thankfully for everybody, there's only one. And Heritage JF was a great game. Heritage LCA was a very good game too. And it's funny because if you talk to Heritage, they will tell you we didn't play as well as we could have in both those games. So we'll see.
Bob, I totally agree with you, Bob. I mean, I wish I would have had 3 big G's last week, because I kind of feel like I saw the best game in the, at least this year by far, last week with that 50-49 game with GW and Magna Vista. And I was just absolutely shocked. I really was. It was just a nail biter the whole way. It was basically me and Joe was sitting up there going, if GW can get one stop, they got a chance. They got a chance. But, you know, and they finally get it with the fumble. So Gregory, I'll let you move on with that.
I'm going to ask Bob one thing real quick, Gregory, before you move on. So, Bob, one thing that we were kind of concerned about halfway through the season was David Bradley going down for Heritage. I mean, have you seen any drop off in their offense at all since he went down?
David Bradley was hurt for a little bit last year too. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's not the ideal situation of the world, but keep in mind too, Aiden Slash is a running quarterback as well, so he can run the football as well. I think it hurts, but I mean, Lindsey, Flash Fleshman, pardon me, Kimandre. I want to call him Lindsey because there was a Lindsey at Appomattox. Kimandre Fleshman is fast, one of the fastest people I have seen. But I like a guy that can run between the tackles a little bit more. Zayd Holloway can do that, but it's maybe only 2 yards, 3 yards. But the last time I checked, you only need to be better than your opponent that week. And as long as Heritage can do that, I think they'll be fine. Having the game, and let me say this too, and I'll say it like GW Danville, JT Christopher, I'm assuming, is a pretty good home field advantage. City Stadium is not. I mean, I'd rather play there than go to LCA though, or go to, you know, wherever else. So, I mean, but City Stadium, there's a lot of bare metal that you can see because it's a huge stadium, and we don't live in the 80s or 90s anymore when, you know, Glass was playing GW or Glass was playing Heritage or anything like that. So I'd rather be at home than go on the road.
And Bob, I'm going to add something to that, and something I've been preaching all year long. And I've sent videos and pictures back to Gregory and Devin to, you know, get on our website for sights and sounds of football games. I would definitely agree with you. In the past, GW used to have the absolute best home field advantage of anybody that I've ever known in the past. And here recently, and I can't put my finger on it. Joe might be able to have an answer to this, but I can't put my finger on it. GW plays talented and good football teams in that stadium, and people just do not attend the games, and I just don't understand. I mean, I was at the Glass game. It was sparse. I didn't go to the Botetourt game. I don't know how well the crowd was. And just the other night, I sent a video back to Gregory and Devin that Magna Vista, they were on the visiting side with the short stands, but I guarantee if you put the people together, they had more people than GW did. So I'm very disappointed in that home crowd, and it seems like every week I kind of challenge that home field, that base, to get out there and attend these games, because these boys from GW need that attention.
The only thing I can say is we live in a different world. I mean, I hate to be like that and be the old curmudgeon.
I think you're right. We were talking off camera just before we all started, and actually we're talking about this specific thing. And it's not just, coming to Danville and we'll see whether that big stadium is full or not. I think that whether you're at City Stadium or GW, Bob hit it on the head. I coached at GW from 90 to 96. And, that's kind of like the heyday of GW Glass kind of thing. Those were community events that you would go to. It's a little bit more like Matt was talking about that still exists in Southwestern Virginia, where the whole community shuts down and comes out to the games. I don't think they attend games like that anymore. But yet you still have these really big stadiums that can look a little bit empty if, you don't get a really big crowd in it.
I remember when I broadcasted a game at Giles with William Campbell and Giles, I am positive that if anybody wanted to commit larceny that night, go to Giles and just rob houses left and right. You could probably have whatever you want because the whole town was at the game. We do not live in those times anymore. If you go to Lynchburg and try to rob somebody, if you think they're all at a Heritage game, you're probably going to get shot.
No, I do want to make a continue the sidebar. I mean, Matt, you wrote an article about kind of the coal fields and just kind of that whole community feel there in Southwest Virginia. I mean, how are they able to do it every single Friday? They get the town out there and everyone's at the game, and it's just a different atmosphere there in Southwest Virginia.
Yeah, man. They everybody works pretty local to the town or where they live. And a short answer, down here, man, there's nothing like high school football. I mean, the only place where I've known it to be high school football to be a bigger deal, it would be in Texas. I mean, these people in here, they love it. They live it. They breathe it. Literally, it's like I said earlier, it's like a movie. You go down here to the diner in town in Honeacre, there's articles up everywhere. You got old guys sitting around talking about the game. You go to Gate City, any of these towns down here, man, they live for it. And it all starts honestly with the youth. I mean, they pour into their youth programs around here like nothing I've ever seen. So I think that's the big part of it is it starts with the youth, and there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of small town communities around here, man, small schools, and it's just a lot of pride. And you're playing for your little town. It's just a lot of pride.
I hope we can kind of recreate that at some point in Central, South Side, and the Roanoke region. So, I mean, it's so special seeing, just hearing coaches talk about it in Southwest Virginia. I'm talking to Coach Turner about how they tailgate, before the game starts. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool doing for high school football. But, all right, so moving on to 3D here. So, Magna Vista is the 1 seed there, just that one loss there to GW in double overtime. The Abingdon Falcons, who Devin had in our top 10 for a little bit. He's laughing down there. Carroll County at 4, Northside at 5, Lower Botetourt at 2. K-Spring at 7, William Byrd at 3, and Bassett there at 6. Just my initial thoughts. We'll get a Bassett and William Byrd rematch. I think Bassett took them down early in the season too, so I think that kind of be interesting to see that rematch there. William Byrd and John Toller can get that win over them. Lower Botetourt, I thought they were downhill. I think they had lost 2 straight maybe, or lost maybe William Fleming lost like 55-7 or something like that, whatever it was. But they bounced back at the win against Northside, so watch out for them. Maybe they're back on the upswing in there. But yeah, I still think this is a Magna Vista region right here. I just think Magna Vista's athletes are really good. They easily could have beat GW, but didn't fall their way. So I look for Magna Vista to come out of this region.
Gregory, I want to add a couple things, and I'm tickled to death to see Bassett playing the football that they're playing this year. And, they've come up with some big wins, and, to see them make the playoffs, I think is awesome, especially after we talked to those guys over the summer. But, Joe can add to this after I say what I need to say, but Magna Vista, you guys know, Gregory, you and Devin know how I felt about this football game last week. I actually said GW 42, Magna Vista 21. That story did get out to the Magna Vista kids, so they knew about it when I was over on their sideline. So, but anyway, long story short, the reason why I stuck with that was because I did not realize until game time that Dukes and Simeon Moore both play on both sides of the football. And I thought with that big line and with GW running that football like they do, I just knew they would be dead dog tired going down the stretch. I just knew by the time fourth quarter hit that you wouldn't see them any longer. But I was so far from right, I was wrong. So just to let you know, I actually think that it's going to come down to Magna Vista and Heritage playing for a state championship. Magna Vista, in my book, I thought that they played, toe-to-toe, fought, they sparred with GW left and right. And let me tell you something. This kid, Simeon Moore, I have not seen every quarterback in the state, so I'm not even going to pretend like I have. This kid is as good as any kid I've seen play football. Me and Joe talked about it on the sidelines. This guy, he didn't get his uniform dirty on the offensive side. Nobody got close to him unless he tried to make a run on the RPO or something. But he was letting the football go and letting his receivers just take off. I mean, he was hitting them in stride. They were just all they had to do was run underneath the ball. Dukes, I looked at Joe one time. I said, "Man, this guy really don't have that kind of speed, but he can run over people." And just as soon as I say that, he gets to the line and he burns it for 55 yards down the left sideline. So I just think this team has so many weapons. I didn't even mention Tyler Martin. This kid caught 3 touchdowns, 3 bombs. I mean, he's got Anthony Scott, another kid that can burn it. And, Dukes can run the football with anybody. Like I said, he's going to get you 3 yards on every carry. And then when he gets through the line, he can take it to the house. So look out for Magna Vista to make some big time noise. And like I said, I think they'll meet Heritage for the title.
I think Magna Vista is the favorite in this group as well. I think Botetourt, honestly, Greg, I think they're better than you might think in certain ways in terms of ball control and running, and keeping the clock and moving it a little bit at a time. They're pretty strategic about throwing it. That said, honestly, until about the last, GW was up on them by 18 with like 3 minutes left. And I don't know. We can talk about GW's back in here shortly in terms of pass defense, because that ties into the Magna Vista talk as well. Greg's right on in terms of Magna Vista. The other thing to keep in mind is not only are they well coached and seasoned, they're old. That core group of athletes they have, Moore, Dukes, Martin, the Scott brothers. What would that be? That's 5. Those 5 guys, there's 4 seniors and 1 junior in that group. They've been playing there. I thought Moore graduated 10 years ago when the season started, because it feels like he's been there forever. And to Greg's point, I'll kind of point out, just since I've seen GW a number of times, I saw him play Bassett. You got David Cook and a really good set of receivers at Bassett as well. In that game, GW completely shut down the Bengals. They got good receivers. They're pretty quick, but they're still not quite on the same speed level as what Magna Vista has. And I think GW gambled a little bit on the back end of their defense against receivers that were just a little bit faster than some of their DBs were, and they got burned. And in regards to Moore not really being on his backside, GW was getting pressure, but what I think I noticed was they were getting the ball out super quick. And Moore throws a ball similar to what maybe a prime Russell Wilson used to do. If you remember, Wilson, he put so much air under the ball, and it would just up and down and let his guys run under it. And when you got burners like that, like the Scott brothers and Martin, that's what they were doing to get the ball out really quick against GW, even though I think GW's front was still getting penetration, versus when GW played Bassett. Bassett was probably holding the ball a little bit longer, so much to the point that they were 0 for 11 passing in the first half against GW. They had a grand total of 100 yards passing, and about 70 of it came on the ball that GW actually intercepted. I'm talking about Bassett now. And the kid threw it back into play, and the Bassett player was laying on his back on the field and caught it. So all I'm saying is I think Magna Vista is experienced. Obviously, Faveros does a great job coaching them up. But, man, that core group of athletes they've got that Greg mentioned play both ways are really, really tough.
And, Joe, I'm going to add a couple things. He's got 2 tight ends that he can bring in there and throw to them as well. Me and you wound up intercepting a conversation on one of the kickoffs, and it just so happened to be with Tyler Martin and the GW sideline. And, the GW sideline was sitting there going, "You have caught your last touchdown, buddy." This was a couple minutes before the half. "You have caught your last touchdown." And he looked at every one of them. He says, "No, I'm not finished for the night." He said, I know I got one more in me. And sure enough, he catches a 48-yard touchdown pass on about the next play, I think. So these kids can mix it up with anybody. So I look for them to go a long way.
Matt, after hearing all that, do you think Abingdon has anything for Magna Vista there?
And not after they went to Jonesville last week and lost to Lehigh. That was kind of a shocker. I've watched some Magna Vista on film. I've seen Lord Botetourt in their game against Rye Cove earlier in the year. Obviously seen Abingdon. I watched a little bit of Carroll County. But I don't see anybody out of here beating Magna Vista besides Lord Botetourt. I've kind of read a little bit about Bird. I know they got a good team, but I think Magna Vista comes out of here. I think they beat Lord Botetourt in the region championship.
We talked about this yesterday in our live show, and I can't remember what three does. I think 3 may cross bracket and do A versus C, maybe B versus D. I think Bob may have to look that up or let us know. But I know they're doing different things now in 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think 4 is kind of taking the top 4 seeds and kind of re-ranking them as we get to the state semifinals. So a little bit different things here. So
A plays D in the semi, and C plays B.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the only way we can have a Magna Vista Heritage Championship.
Well, I've got a question for Big Greg. I've got a question for Big Greg and Joe real quick. Who needed that game more last week? Did Magna Vista need that type of game, or did GW need that type of game more?
I'll go first, Joe. In my opinion, GW needed that game first and foremost, because let me tell you, I was at the Salem game last year, and I think Joe was too, in the playoffs, and Salem just run roughshod over top of GW. Wherever Salem wanted to run the football, they ran the football. I just feel like they needed this for that playoff run. I mean, hey, if we got to go 2 overtimes, then we'll be here all night. So that's kind of the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, when you ask that question, maybe, it's about confidence going into the playoffs, about knowing who you are at this time of year. Like I said, Magna Vista's really old with that core group. Those guys, they know who they are heading forward. GW, they played one of the toughest non-district schedules out there. I mean, they took on Reidsville out of North Carolina, and they weren't ready for that opening game at all for various reasons. Reidsville's already won 23 state titles in North Carolina. They might be headed to 24 with 2 D1 guys there now. But after that, they kind of found their footing with Botetourt and Fleming, and having to play rivals Glass and Amherst, all out of district games. But having said that, you really don't find out truly who you are until you get into those really big time matchups like they had against Magna Vista. And then to be, pushed to the limit throughout that game. Nobody really separated in that game, although it looked for a stretch there in the second quarter like Magna Vista might get away from them a little bit, largely because of that pass that Greg just mentioned a moment ago. It was 4th and 15 at the 50 with 30 seconds left before half. And GW goes cover 0 for some reason with no safety on the back end. And Martin they just run right by them. That kind of thing. That's a little head scratching at times. But in answer to your question, yeah, I think maybe GW needed a little bit more. But at the same time, they've been building this identity throughout the course of the whole season. So I don't think it would have broke them one way or the other if they didn't win that game. But, man, it really ups their confidence just that much more as they head into the playoffs.
Well, and the big thing, too, I think about Gregory and Devin and Big Greg and everybody else is, the EC Glass win for GW, I don't think was as good as they thought it would be, because Glass did not perform the way that I think a lot of people thought they would. So GW didn't get maybe as many points as they thought they might get. So stuff like that really kind of can come into play on this. You talked about Appomattox earlier. Appomattox got hot, and that helped Heritage and other people that beat Appomattox when you look at these playoffs too.
I think we jinxed Jamar Lovelace in the Glass. We did an interview, and I don't think they won a game after that. Maybe so. That's on us.
Congratulations, Sports Illustrated.
Listen, I want to make sure everybody knows. I mean, I don't make no bones about it. I'm a GW grad, but at the same time, if anybody thinks I'm a GW homer, they need to get that out of mind, because I want to go on record after that first loss to Reidsville. I believe if you went back and pulled our tape, I think I kind of said something to the effect of GW's headed downstream. They won't be at the playoffs. And I think I said they'd finish 5-5. So, I changed my mind totally at the Glass game, not just because they won, but I did not realize that GW's line was as big as they are on both sides of the football. I did not realize they could run the ball like they can. So, but we'll get into that as we get into 4A. I just wanted everybody to know that I had previously made that comment.
Gary, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question to Matt real quick. Matt, I mean, a team in that 3D is what we just covered. A team in that bracket who I think it might be a little slept on is Carroll County. Have you seen anything out of those guys out there? I mean, they're 8-2 on the year. Do you think, I don't know if you've seen Magna Vista play, but do you think that they could have any say so about that game against Magna Vista if they do get past Northside?
Yeah, Carroll County, they got a good team, but I don't think that they can beat Magna Vista, to be sure. Good season by the Cavs though. Got a good team, but and I think Magna Vista 2 or 3 touchdown win over that.
Yeah, I agree. We tried to put Carroll in my top 10. They won't let me do it. So Carroll has a good team for sure. But looking at 4D here, so 2 left here for 4D and 5C. So 4D, we have number 1 GW Eagles against Blacksburg in the first round. Sharona Warriors versus James Wood Colonels. Sidebar real quick, James Wood might have a very ugly logo here. I mean, I don't know if the W and the J match up like that, if you guys can see that or not. But anyways, moving on. Hanley judges the 2, Liberty Eagles the 7, JF 3 versus a rival there in EC Glass. So interesting 4D here. I don't know much about Hanley as a 2 seed there. I think they had a really good season as well. I know about JF. We've seen JF play. That's going to be a really interesting semifinal there if those 2 teams win. I don't know if JF's line can get that win. Go ahead, Bob.
That'll be a Saturday game, by the way, because Hanley doesn't have lights.
Oh, okay. That'd be interesting. So, yeah, we don't have to worry about any jello legs there on a Friday there for that one. So, gosh, I don't know. I mean, GW for years, I thought they had the team to get out of the region, and it seemed like they could never get past, Salem or whoever it was there in that second round game. But it'll be interesting, that matchup in the semifinals against Sharando or James Wood. I don't know much about Sharando, but I know they've had some issues with Sharando in the past. But this GW team, this looks different. I mean, that line that we talked about on offense and defense, it's just they're a big line. I think they're suited to make a run in there in 4D and possibly win the region, I think, possibly against Hanley or JF.
Gregory, and Joe can piggyback off of this, but, I made mention to this the other night. We all talk about today, what's going to happen Friday or whatever during this game, whatever. Listen, Nick Anderson has bright fields ahead of him because, he's got both Brandon and Lipscomb and Tayshawn Nash and Octavian Covington, and Joe could probably add to it, Jahari Nicholson. They're all juniors, man. I mean, he's got a bright future ahead of him if all else fails this year. But let me say something. I don't know. And like I said, the Glass game I went to, I fell in love with this GW team because, it was almost like back to the old Packers, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Let me tell you something. Brandon and Lipscomb, they can run over you or they can run around you. And, not to say that they don't have any three and outs. Me and Joe witnessed a couple of those last week. I think even Brandon coughed up the ball once in the first half. But I'm going to tell you, this is a 4-quarter team. They're going to keep themselves in the football game. And we did witness one thing that I looked at Joe twice, actually. It happened on 4th and 15 twice Friday night. And that was 2 touchdown passes over. I know the first one was a little bit shorter. I think it was about a 25, 30-yard touchdown in the corner. And then we had a 48-yard touchdown to Martin in the second quarter. And I was kind of lost in the moment because I was just trying to find out why we didn't have anybody back, too deep or whatever. But, we kind of made some adjustments, or GW kind of made some adjustments in that second half. And, you only saw one bomb over 50 yards in the second half versus, a couple of them in the first half. But I just think this team is built for 4 quarters, and they're going to lean on you the whole game. And, they just don't give up a whole lot. I don't necessarily think that they take advantage of everything. I think he can still use Tayshawn as a tight end across the middle a lot more than what he does, but he's also a good blocking back for those guys too. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on GW pretty good. Yeah, they are really big up front. They have depth too. I think that's what some people might miss is there are times where they've got Chris Law, for example, who's a Liberty commit. He's arguably the best lineman, but there's stretches where he doesn't play offense at all. They just play him on defense. Donovan Reeves, another one that he can play both ways. They'll put him in the backfield. They'll put him kind of the sniffer back, but he plays D line most of the time. And they will wear you down, which actually works in their favor against teams that maybe like to make quick strikes or big plays, is they will gobble up the clock and they will eat yardage. And to this stage anyway, now they could run up against somebody that can man up against them up front, but to this stage, nobody's been able to stop them on the ground. They ran against Magna Vista 61 times for 404 yards. And if GW, Greg, I know you've been apologizing all night to all the Magna Vista folks, rightfully so, for the 42-21 thing. But I think there was a stretch there that the first touchdown that they gave up, they actually played cover 3 and had a safety that didn't get over the top on that one against Martin. And maybe just Martin just beat everybody, right? The one right before half probably should have never happened. I mean, it was like 4th and 15 from the 50 with 30 seconds left, and they play cover 0 and get burnt. You should have probably been playing too deep there. They shouldn't have given up that touchdown. It could have been GW by 10 or 14 in regulation, to be honest, if they could have shored up the back end on at least 2 of those plays. And I've given Magna Vista props all night, and rightfully so. Man, just a really good team. To your point, they have 3 sophomores playing along the line right now. And if you want to get an idea how big this line is, Glass is 6'4", 300. Reeves is 6'6", 340. Witcher is 6'3", 325. They're all sophomores.
Yep.
And they got a junior Noble that's 6 foot 340. And as I mentioned before, 2 of their best linemen, Reeves and Law, don't even always play on the offensive side of the ball. So depth will really carry them a long ways. And from my time coaching, and also I think just from a fan perspective in football in general, you coach it and you watch it from the inside out. If teams are really dominant in and around the tackle box on both sides of the ball, meaning they can run and they can stop the run, man, that travels in the playoffs big time and matches up really well. Obviously you don't want to give up the big plays in the secondary. If they can shore those up, man, they could go a long ways.
And to reiterate, I do have GW playing JF in that region final. Or would that be state quarters? What would that be?
That'd be region final.
Okay.
I'll ask Bob. I mean, Bob, do you see? I mean, I don't know if you know much about Hanley. Do you see JF getting past Hanley and playing for that region final there, and maybe in Danville?
I do.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good game. It'd be a good game because I think Forest. I don't think they had the size of the line with GW, but they have some outside. The ends are pretty fast. I mean, you got Slakasy. He's very quick, so I think it would be definitely a good matchup. They have some athletes there too at JF, so would definitely be a good region final there. I still think GW's line would carry them through, though. I mean, I think they just are lean on you and pound you until you into submission. So, but yeah, I see GW.
The biggest thing is JF's quarterback got hurt last week. Jackson got hurt. They had to move Xander Coleman, the quarterback, and that takes away kind of what has been told to me is the Swiss Army knife. The Swiss Army knife is playing quarterback. Honestly, I looked at it just as much of they went like a single wing T type of thing. But it does take away it kind of messes with two areas of the team, maybe even 3, because you don't have your normal quarterback back there. Your normal quarterback is on the bench getting his shoulder taped with ice, and instead of having a pocket pass, you've got a guy that can roam. So I think that makes it difficult on the offensive. I don't know if difficult's the word. Different for the offensive lineman as well.
And Bob and Joe, I wanted to add something to this GW thing. I just feel like in years past, there was just something that they had to get over. Like last year. I mean, I thank God Salem is out of the playoffs. I'll just say that. And I think GW is tickled to death that they don't have to play them. I don't care if they're 5-5. I'm glad. I think GW is tickled. They don't want to see that offense at all. And that's something they've had to overcome in the past. And it's like exercising demons. So, in my opinion, I just don't think that they're going to run into anything this year that is going to surprise them. I mean, they've seen offensive, they've seen lines, they've seen defense. I mean, I just think they've seen everything that they need to play. I mean, even in the loss to Reidsville, they've seen that type of team that they don't have to worry about that anymore.
I just wanted to add. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
All I was going to, no, go ahead. It's not related so much to GW, but the region. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention about Sharando real quick, just because some common opponents there. They beat Amherst 41-0. Beat James Wood, who they're playing in the first round, 49-20. Only lost to Hanley by 7, lost 14-7 to Hanley. So, I mean, watch out for a potential Sharando matchup there in the semifinal. It could be a really good one too. I hope they don't overlook Sharando. Looking forward to the region championship. So that's the only thing I was adding.
Yeah,
And if Joe needs to feel good about himself, let me give that comment, because like Joe said, the line travels. I 1,000,000% agree with that, because if GW can block up front, heck, if anybody can block up front both ways, I'll take them every day of the week.
Yeah, I think Hanley's, it's hard to know, exactly how good they are. Obviously, they got a great record, but when you look at their games, they did beat Sharando 14-7. They're very familiar with each other as well, and that always plays in. If you look back at the GW Glass game, well, they played like 125 times or something like that. They know each other really well. That could go either way. I mean, sure, Hanley beat Sharando, and then they beat James Wood, but they got absolutely crushed by Kettle Run. It was like 34-0. So I haven't seen Hanley, so I'm totally speaking under correction here. I don't know how good they are or what their strengths and weaknesses might be. But, yeah, I think Sharando's in the mix. If JF is down a quarterback, that could change it enough that, it could even out the playing field a little bit there. It could be a toss-up in terms of what this final looks like. I think the last thing I was just going to say is I don't want to get ahead of us, but when you look at 4D matches up with 4C in the state semis, whoever comes out of this region, and I'm not knocking 4C, but just looking through how those teams have played this year, I think whoever comes out of 4D as the regional champs going to have an edge against 4C in the semifinals, trying to get to a state championship.
And Joe, I'm gonna ask you something, because I was under the influence, or we have been under the influence, that when you get to those 4 region champions, that they're flipping or they're reseeding those teams. So I don't know. I was kind of looking at D and C playing and A and B playing too. So I had it as a Varina and GW final, but I don't know. Gregory, can you throw some info in on that?
I'll have to pull it back up. I thought I saw on the VHSL website that 4 is going to do something completely different again this year. So last year they were the only ones who did the cross bracketing in the semifinals. I think this year they're going to take the 4 region winners, and I don't know the analytics or how they're going to do it, but they're going to reseed them, and they'll play the top 2 seeds play at home versus the other 2 seeds. So I don't know if GW wins the region, and all of a sudden they're a 4 seed playing at Verona or who it might be. So I don't know how they're going to do that part.
But just y'all correct me if I'm wrong on the actual letter matchups in terms of it is D against C regardless of who's home, right?
Except for 3. I think 3's got something weird going right now.
Right. Yeah.
But
just
in
regards to 4. Right. Just in regards to 4. Right.
Yeah.
4 is normal.
Yeah. In which case,
I call
GW
those normal people.
Just in that case, GW couldn't play Verina until the actual state championship game.
Yeah.
And what a semifinal on the other side, if it did come down to A and B, with Hampton only losing 1 game all year to Cardinal Gibbons, and then Verina only losing to Grimsley and Maury. So what a heck of a battle that could turn out to be.
That's loaded. That's really loaded.
I'll give Dinwiddie a call and tell them that you got him out.
And I thought about that too, Bob. And I was like, but you know what? I watched this Verina team. Me and Devin went up to Lynchburg last year and watched Verina and Phoebus play. It was real man football for that football game. And I'm just telling you, I just don't see Verina as a number 4 seed. Just absolutely blows my mind. And especially with the 2 losses that they have.
Dinwiddie's good. That's all I'll say. Real good.
I hope Matt doubles as a Richmond aficionado too, because we have 5C here, and the teams we have is the Roanoke teams here. Patrick Henry at 1, Franklin County at 8, and of course we know about William Fleming, who came on strong at the very end there. They played a great ending of the year. But yeah, you see a lot of Richmond area teams here. So I'm not familiar with Richmond, but of course you hear the name, Highland Springs. That's a team to watch out for. Hermitage has always had a good team there. So we talked to Coach Fiddler early in the season, and when they were undefeated, and kind of asked him about this question, like, you guys are going to be matched up with Richmond area teams. You know, you might be a 1 seed, but do you feel like you're an underdog in your own region as a 1 seed? And it kind of does feel that way. I mean, you're going to play against teams in Richmond who have kids who are going D1, playing the ACC, SEC, whatever it might be. So you might play in some teams who are better than you, but you might ranked ahead of them. So this will be an interesting region. So I don't know what that semifinal game looks like against Hermitage, maybe at home there at Patrick Henry. If they do get past that, they get Highland Springs likely. They're in region finals. So lots of good teams there, and 5 seed Patrick Henry to play.
Well, when's the last time Patrick Henry was able to host a region final like that as well? But yeah, I think Highland Springs, you know, if anybody's looking at their record, and I always kind of try to do a little background check. You know, they're showing 7-3 and a number 2 seed, but let's look at their 3 losses, and Bob's right on the money with this. One of their losses was to Dinwiddie. The other one was to I think you say Huff. That's out of Raleigh, and then Verino, of course. So that's their 3 losses. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at that schedule whatsoever.
And I talked to Rob of the RVA Sports Network on my podcast a couple weeks ago, and he said Highland Springs has the mentality of we'll go anywhere, we don't care. And that's what their coach said. I mean, when that's coming from the top of, you know, hey, we're not concerned if we don't get the home game. I mean, either that's confidence or gusto. I don't know which one, but I'll take it.
And I'll add that, you know, we're talking to Leftwich there at Wayne Fleming tomorrow. I mean, what a story they've had this year. I mean, they started off pretty rocky. I think they were like 3-3 or something like that, and finished the year off pretty well. We talked about their opponents. I mean, I think their opponents are like 14 games above 500, so they played a really difficult schedule. I mean, you would love to see Glen Allen maybe get an upset there of Highland Springs, and maybe we get a William Fleming and Patrick Henry Roanoke final there. But again, I don't know. I just feel like these Roanoke teams are fighting uphill, even though they're higher seeds at the 1 and 3. But I feel like they just have a uphill battle against these Richmond teams who play against, you know, other teams who have a lot of D1 talent. So it's gonna be interesting to see what how this region plays out.
Yeah,
I think Fiddler talked about it on your podcast. Is, you know, teams, or I didn't mean to cut off. I think it was Devin. I wasn't looking, but I think it was Devin. So I really don't feel bad. So, you know, the thing about it is PH and Fleming, unfortunately, their schedule is not loaded as they want it to be within district and things like that. So they have to go outside. And, you know, I'll tell you this, and I don't mean to cut on Salem, but everybody who thought they were scheduling a good game when they got Salem, for the first few games, that was not true. That was not true at all.
Bob and Devin, I'm cutting you off too. Sorry. You know, one of the things that I want to point out about Patrick Henry is that, you know, Patrick Henry played a front-end loaded calendar season, basically. I mean, I just wonder, and I think Fiddler had a little bit of not necessarily discouragement, but I think he's wondering the same thing. But, you know, not playing basically a meaningful game for the last 3 or 4 games of the season, how well does that play in when it comes to playoff time? And I hope they don't get caught up in something like that where, you know, they try to, you know, put their foot on the gas at certain times and take it off and what have you. I just hope they don't get caught up in that.
That's why I bring up the whole GW Magna Vista thing of who needed that more, because if I'm not mistaken, GW's district schedule is not killer at all. So it's almost, except for Magna Vista. So they almost both need that game. You know what I'm saying? It's odd sometimes when you have things like that happen.
And we've had PH at number 1 pretty much all year in our poll, and you know, the one thing we always harped on is their schedule, and you can only play the games that are on your schedule. But those teams, and like EJ, I think that was the guy's name, EJ Harrison, who commented that the Richmond side, they're battle tested. They play those games. Hermitage, Glen Allen was a team who's has produced a lot of athletes in the past. Who was the 2 seed in that on that side?
And see, the Richmond teams and the Beach teams, and even Northern Virginia, nobody needs to travel to play a non-district game because they're all, you know, I could look outside my window and throw a rock and hit a non-district opponent school. So, you know, the thing that faults, I think, PH and, you know, other teams like JF, Alta Vista, GW, it's not that they don't want to play good people, but good people don't want to play them type of thing. And then you have to, like, JF had to go to Mount Airy this year to play. I mean, it's a situation to where, do I think they want to go to Mount Airy? No. Do I think Heritage wanted to go to West Virginia for the first game? I didn't want to go, but I had to. So, it's a situation to where just because you want to play somebody, if the logistics don't work out and they don't want to play you, then we're all up creek.
I did want to share something real quick. So I was looking this up real quick. Just how this is from the VHSL. So this is the state final format. So 1 and 2 will stay A and B versus C and D. 3 will pair with, like you said, D and A. And this is interesting right here. So Class 4 will rank the 4 region champions, 1 seed to 4 seed, but it doesn't really give me how they're going to do that. I don't know how they're going to determine, GW, if GW wins, if they're the number 3 seed or a 4 seed or 1 seed or 2 seed. I don't know. I'll have to dig more into that. Like I said here, the 1 and 2 seed will host the state semifinal games. Class 5 will be Region A versus Region C, and so on and so on. So I think 1 and 2, I think you have to do East versus West. I mean, if you're playing all the way in Salem, you would hate to have 2 East teams going out there and play and maybe not have a good gate. So I understand why they do that. But I don't know. I feel like 4, they're just kind of testing something out and see if it works. We in Florida here, they do the kind of same thing. They have 4 region winners, and I don't know how they do it, but they also do the re-rankings and say, have the best 1-4 team versus the worst 4 team. So
I don't like it at all.
Maybe they're doing the reseeding by current by the rating. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, Bob, it's going to be. I mean, if I had, if what I picked come true, Hampton and Varina and GW and Loudoun County, I mean, GW and Loudoun are going to be 3 and 4, no doubt, or 4 and 3, however you want to do it. But those 2.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the ratings for all of them, to be honest with you, so I don't know who sits where.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna say the Beach and Richmond people got to the VHSL on that. I'll just leave it at
that. Well, and I think there have been times in Lynchburg before to where, I want to say it was the 4A 2 or 3 years ago where it was Richmond against Northern Virginia. So, I mean, if you are truly wanting to keep a Roanoke or a Lynchburg team in Lynchburg to play that 4A final, that is not always true.
Hey, I just want to add something on Patrick Henry. We're kind of talking about strength of schedule, and I think, Gregory, you've said it a couple of times. You only play who's on your schedule. I mean, that's done well in advance, and it is what it is. But I've watched PH on film, and if they're going to beat some of these Richmond schools to claim that region, I think this might be the year that they're capable of doing that. They're strong up front in the trenches. They can throw. They can run. I just think they have a whole package. Like if they matched up again with William Fleming, obviously William Fleming's really talented, gotten hot here late. It would give them fits because they're rivals in addition to that. But I just think PH would have an advantage there as well. But if they're going to win the region and match up well, I think they match up well this year against the Richmond schools. And they might just pull this one out as far as the regional title goes.
And Joe, I'll add to that. Mr. Fiddler, he knows that he's got, in his own words, he's got dudes, and he hasn't had to play his dudes an entire game this year. So, and then the other thing I want to point out to everyone here is that we pretty much gave them bulletin board material last night by dropping them from 1 to 2 in the poll. So that should go a long way in the playoffs with them.
I just want to end. I mean, we're getting close to end here. I just want to give whoever wants to come off, what are you looking for these playoffs? Whether it's in your own region or if you're looking at a state champion, or what's kind of exciting you most about these playoffs this year?
Look, I'm going to say this before anybody else jumps in. I'll let them have the floor, but I just want to say that I look forward to, what did we say, December 21st? Is that D-Day for championship day?
I think it's December 12th.
December 12th. I'm sorry. 13th. Okay. I look forward to seeing Joe, Bob, Matt, all in what are we playing at? Liberty Stadium? What do they call that place up there? At Liberty University.
Williams Stadium.
Okay, at Williams Stadium. I look forward to seeing you guys there. And we'll watch the first game between Magna Vista and Heritage. And then we'll top off the night with some cocoa and hot chocolate and some Subway up in the press box and watch Varina and GW play for the title.
Well, you're not gonna make it to Salem and watch Union play whoever they're playing in the state championship, or no?
Well, I'll get the score from the Graham game that day too, so don't worry.
Oh man, oh gosh. No, I think these playoffs will be fun. I don't see like, I mean, I know Maury has won several state championships. Appomattox did it several years ago. Riverhead's won them several in a row as well. I don't see that team this year that's going to overly dominate the field. I think it's going to be a good playoffs. I think the state semifinal games will be pretty good. I think we have a good state championship as well. So I don't see, maybe in 5 or 6A, maybe we'll see that. But as far as 1 through 4, I think there's going to be a pretty good state tournament game. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I want to bring up, I'm a big Billy Mills fan down here in Southwest Virginia. And I keep up with Dinwiddie. And I just want to ask you guys, I think, we mentioned Highland Springs. Highland Springs had a good game against them. And I think it was maybe Thomas Dale had a good game. Was it Thomas Dale? If you guys know, I think it was Thomas Dale had a good game against Dinwiddie. Who do you guys see as the biggest threat to beat Dinwiddie?
Well, I know who Big G's going to say.
I got to find them. I forgot where we are with them. Oh, I have Marina. Don't I have Marina beating them?
Say I can bring up their.
I'll take Dinwiddie.
Yeah, I got Marina beating Dinwiddie in going on to the final. I just don't think anybody. I just feel like Verina's been slapped in the face once again. I'll say it again, slapped in the face with the number 4 seed. And Devin, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, like looking at that region, it's very top heavy. I think you have Dinwiddie 1, Hanover 8, and you have Verona at 4, like you said. And then Louisa, Louisa has that running back. I think he's committed to Michigan. I think Devin might know his name. Is it Hiller or something like that, Devin, or whatever his name is? But he's going to Michigan. So look for Louisa if they can run the ball against Dinwiddie possibly. But I think the region champion comes from that Dinwiddie Verona game. I don't know if Louisa has more than just running that ball with the kid from Michigan. So it'd be interesting to watch that too. All right. So I think we've kind of hit on everything. Before we go, I just want to, Matt and Joe and Bob, whoever wants to go first, I just wanted you guys kind of give where you guys can be located on social media, like your Facebook, Twitter, or if you have Instagram, whatever, just kind of give it so we all the fans can follow you guys.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Mountain Mojo Sports Talk. You can find me on all 3 of those platforms. And hey, come on, read my stuff. Not boasting myself, but I put a lot of time and research into the stuff that I put out. So any likes, comments, shares, it's definitely appreciated.
Same thing for me. You can find us at danriversports.com, which houses like the bulk of our more in-depth stuff. But you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X. Just look up Dan River Sports. You'll find us in all those places.
Pretty much Facebook and X, the Sports Buffet. I go out to Lynchburg events just because I guess I don't have anything else to do sometimes. But or I don't know. People let me in. I don't know what's wrong with them.
That's awesome.
Look,
go ahead,
Greg. I was just going to tell them, sometimes I feel like, everybody feels like they're in a competition with each other, and maybe we are in a certain kind of way. But, the thing is that I respect each and every one of you guys. I mean, everybody's not necessarily doing a job, but doing what they love to do. And listen, I learned something from every one of you, and I appreciate everything that you guys do. And, if I'll let you know that our mission here is to give some of these kids a opportunity to play on the next level. And I'm not saying we're always going to get you Division I, at all. I mean, it might be Division II, it might be junior college, whatever we can do. But that's our kind of our goal or our mission is to help some of these kids further their education and be able to play on another level. So, but I appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, we learned so much from you all when we see y'all out there at the game. So thank y'all for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate it.
And real quick, I think about it this way. When I interview people, whether it's serious or silly, not only am I helping, in my opinion, hey, you're going to have a job interview one day. So you need to know how to talk to people. And I think I hate to use the term media for myself or journalist because I'm anything but But when you have to talk to adults and your kids, I think it's just a growing point of life.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'll echo what Big G was saying. I don't feel like we're in any competition. I think we're all kind of different areas, kind of covering the kids, and I think it's all about them. We're all independent media here. We're all probably doing this part time. Probably all have full time jobs that we get to make money doing. So it's all about the community and stuff like that we do this for. So it's been a pleasure, and I hope we can do this again. And maybe we could do it for the state tournament or something that we get it back on and discuss state championship games, or at least do it for basketball too. So I'm sure we'll all be back in the basketball mode as soon as this football season's over with too.
Gregory, I was going to also mention to Bob that it was funny how things worked out at the ODAC basketball tournament. How we, instead of us just attacking all these people, hey, why don't we make it look like we got a media room full of people asking questions instead of just one of us going up and asking people. So we worked together, and I really appreciated that, Bob. It was great working with you there.
I think when you can tag team people, not only do you get more out of it, but I think the people that are being interviewed appreciate the tag team thing. And I remember seeing Joe at EC Glass and GW Danville basketball last year. It's really different because the coaches and players don't want to say the same thing to 5 different people. And when you have a situation to where you can, I'll use the term tag team people, I think everybody wins.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But let me point out something, and not to give anybody more credit than the other. I'm gonna tell you one thing: if anybody's got one of the best post game interviews, y'all need to watch Joe Newell. I'm gonna tell you right now, that dude has got it on. And I mean, I hate to interrupt anybody. I caught myself the last 2 games I've seen him at doing the post game interviews. I caught myself watching him conduct that interview. So Joe, very professional, and it looks great. Just wanted to let you know.
Just remind me, Greg, again, what your Venmo or Cash App is. Send something over that way.
Coming your way.
Hey, I'll just say this to reciprocate, and it's genuine. I mean it. I want to say thank you guys, obviously, for having us all on tonight. It's been great. Covered a lot of ground. I didn't know how we were going to cover this much ground, because to hit all these classifications is a lot. But man, thank you guys for all that you do with District 2. And I think we're all just in it, man, that these kids get the most out of sports and learn all the things they can learn from them, take that with them to the rest of their lives, whether it translates to college athletics or not. They learn so much from just participating, and what all of you guys are doing, man, that just motivates them to get involved, to stay involved, and really hopefully take the most of it with them. So just congratulations to everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Joe, Matt, Bob, thank you guys for coming on. And we'll do this again soon. Matt, I look forward to seeing you Thanksgiving weekend when Union plays Richview for the state for the region championship. So thank you guys.
All right. Thank you guys.